guys, Steve here from Blossom Racing. Going to bring a short video to you here on installing a rebuild kit. So the carburetor we're going to work on is going to be the 33 millimeter carburetor. I already have this carburetor all disassembled. We cleaned it in the cleaner, the parts washer, WD-40. It's ready to go back together, and I determined that this carburetor is ready for a rebuild kit. Well, you asked me, hey Steve, how do you know when a carburetor's ready for a rebuild kit? That's simple. You take the floats and you weigh the floats. The floats on a 33 carburetor should only be about 6 grams. So if you're at 8 or 9 grams, time to replace the floats. And since you're replacing the floats, you might as well replace all the O-ring material. The O-ring material here, if you notice, it gets a little bit hard and not very pliable anymore. So that's a good indication that it's time to put a rebuild kit in there. Another reason for a rebuild kit would be you got fuel on your overflows. So 33 millimeter carburetor, these up here are your overflows. For your needle and seat. So if your needle and seat isn't shutting properly, you will get fuel flowing out these. They're basically vent tubes is what they're called, but they also act as the overflow. In the bowl is what you would call the overflow. This is for fuel level. So if your fuel gets too high, it'll start coming out your overflow in your bowl. But it's so small that it'll just keep filling up until it gets up to these vent tubes, and then the fuel will start pouring out. If you've got fuel pouring out either of these vent tubes, very good sign that your needle and seat's just not closing. So could be there's a piece of junk in it, could be something stuck. You might be able to clean it and get it and limp it past, but that's also a good indicator of when you need to install a rebuild kit. And then we got the top gasket. It's really brittle. It's not very pliable anymore. So we're going to go ahead and replace all that. So where I like to start off is, of course, just work the opposite way of when you take one of these carbs apart. Just work the opposite way. We're going to put everything together inside the bowl first. So here's the pilot jet. I took a pin and pinned the pilot jet. This is a 59 thousandths pilot jet. All of our new pilot jets, it's all going to be lasered on there, what size they are. But normally you have to pin them. The numbers that are on here, like a 27, that's actually a gas number, which doesn't apply to us at all because we have to modify it for alcohol. So simply just put the pilot jet back in. Tightness, you got aluminum and you got brass here. Brass is really fragile, so just screw it down and you're basically just snug, and then just give it a little bit of pressure and it's good to go. So there's the pilot jet. Next thing I'm going to install is going to be the emulsion tube, and on the emulsion tube you can see there's a slot right here in the emulsion tube, and down inside the carburetor you'll see a little pin. That slot and that pin have to line up. Once that lines up, then your emulsion tube will fall right down into place. If it doesn't fall down into place, just simply persuade it by giving it a little push, and it should go right into place. So just push it down, and then I'm reaching my finger inside and pushing the emulsion tube up. I don't have the pin and that slot lined up, so I'm just going to take a screwdriver, touch it down into the needle jet, the emulsion tube, line up that pin with that slot, and push it all the way in, taking both fingers, pushing it down in kind of hard. So now the emulsion tube's back in. We got to put the hat on it. That hat is what holds it there. You're going to take your main jet. Main jet on this one is a 195. So you're just going to take that 195, get it started in there. So right now my my emulsion tube is not quite down in there. So if you look down in there, it's kind of stuck, and I don't have enough strength in my. I lied. Just push really hard. If that doesn't work, you can come in with a screwdriver and come right out here on top of the emulsion tube and kind of just very lightly just tap it and tap that right down in there. But I managed to push it hard enough that it went down in. So we're good to go. Put your main jet, your hat on there, and your main jet back in, and just snug her up tight. All right. And then we're going to get into putting the floats and the needle and seat back in. So this is the rebuild kit that you get from us here at Blossom Racing. So the very first item that you're going to get is going to be your floats. There's your float. You got a top gasket, brand new top gasket, your bowl O-ring right there, your needle and seat right there. And then you got this teeny tiny little round O-ring, which is for your fuel mixture screw. Now, if you're not going to remember, but my other video, when I took this fuel mixture screw out, it didn't have an O-ring and it didn't have the little steel washer. So I'm going to have to go and grab the washer before I put that fuel mixture screw back in. So let's go to the needle and seat here. You just got to kind of wiggle it out of its little sheath there, and then you're just going to take the needle and seat, push it down in, being a little stubborn. So we're going to come in. I got a little wire brush right here just to kind of clean that seat up a little bit to make sure there's no rough edges in there. I'm going to come right in. Just get those edges cleaned up. All right. Then I'm going to take this back over, put a little bit of WD-40 on it. Get some of that material maybe out of there that I knocked off. And air back out. All right. I just got my metal washer sitting there, so that's the washer we're going to put in. All right, so now let's get that needle and seat back in there. And it's a little stubborn, doesn't quite want to go in, so I have to persuade it. Just going to take a screwdriver. Usually we take and put a little bit of water or grease or oil, or even like the WD-40 that I sprayed in there should help it slide down into there a little bit easier than what it is right now. So let's try that again. There we go. So put a little WD-40 on it, as you saw, and it slid right down in. So we're good there now. Seat's all the way in. Then you just need your little Phillips head screw here that holds your seat in. Try not to drop this down into the carburetor because it has this weird void down in here. And if you drop that down here, sometimes it is a pain in the butt to get it out. So I would try not to drop it down in there. All right, so get that screw down. That is holding your seat in there now, so that's not going to go anywhere. And then we're going to get the float. And here's the pin. And if you're looking at the air ring side of the carburetor for the pin comes in from the right and goes to the left. Okay, so don't put it in from this way, put it in from the right to the left. Pull your needle out here and hook it onto your float. Your float has a little silver tab on it that your needle just hooks onto. So once you get that hooked, slide it right down into the seat. Come in with your pin, get your floats all lined up. Slide it in, push it in as far as you can with your fingers. And then just grab your hammer. And I just tap on the side of it right here. I got my thumb kind of supporting over here. Just tap it in, and there's your float. That's all back in. All right. And now we're on to the float bowl. So with the float bowl, same thing. Take a little wire brush right down into your accelerator pump area. Get that nice and cleaned out. Make sure you knock off any of the chunks that are in there. And then back over to the parts washer with the WD-40. Spray that in there. Air it out. Good to go. All right. I hate that freaking thing was hiding behind my screwdriver. So take your plunger, push it back in. As you can see, that thing is popping out. So everything's good there. Take your O-ring back into your bowl. Make sure it gets seated all down in there. You don't want it sticking out so it doesn't pop out on you and then you pinch it. So there's that. Get your rod, accelerator pump rod, shove that back in. Simply put the bowl right back on. And grab your 4 screws. Get all 4 of them started before you snug them down. All right, got that one snugged. That one, 3rd one, and the 4th one. Okay, with the bowl back on, what that does is that ensures that we're not going to damage the seat or the needle, the main needle. So, all right, now we're going to do the fuel mixture screw. If I can find all the parts here. It appears that I dropped my spring somewhere, or it rolled underneath. There it is. That's the hard part. I need to do a little tray right here that has, I can put all my parts in. All right. So the first thing that goes on is the spring, the metal washer. As you can see, it's a little silver metal washer. And then your O-ring. And you take that O-ring and you're going to pop it right down over the top of it. And that's going to kind of hold hold it all together. Inspect the tip of your needle, make sure everything's good there. Make sure it's not nicked, bent, you know, has a sharp point on it. All right, so take that, run it right back down. You're going to run it all the way down until it quits turning. You're not going to like tighten it down hard. You're just going to go down until it basically bottoms out the spring. And right there, we're there. We run ours typically where we start is about 3/4 of a turn. So there's half a turn and 3/4 of a turn out. So that's about where we start ours off at. All right, now you just got to put the air jets back in. This one is the 8, which goes into the left side, which is the low idle circuit. Screw that baby right back down. Again, just remember this is brass, so when it bottoms out, give it just a little bit of snug, and it's good to go. 0.7 is what they were running in the top end high idle circuit. Run that baby back in, a little snug, there you go. Okay, so there's all the bottom part of the carb. Now we're going to get into the top part. So here is your slide and your needle and the arm. So these slides will only go in one way. You can't turn it and put it in the wrong way. See, it won't go. So it only goes one way. So slide it right down in. Get the arm over here where your butterfly pin and everything's going to go through. Make sure your spring is still there. The part you got to be careful of is this white piece right here. Typically when you're sliding this back in, there's a little brass pin right here that pushes on that white piece of plastic, and it's going to break it off. So when you get in that far, you got to move this white thing out of the way and then push it the rest of the way in. Don't forget about your little white nylon washer that goes in between the arm and the side of the carburetor on your pin side, the way that it's going to slide in. So slide your pin in, and then you're just going to line up the nylon bushing, and then you got to line your arm up and see how it went in. And now I am stopped. If I push it any harder, you can see it's going to break that white thing off. So just come in here, push that out of the way, and then push it back in. Push your butterfly in the rest of the way. You can see how it is now got around that, and it's on it. So okay, so there's that part. You're all in. Next part is just to put your bolt in. And then you just got to find the hole right there. Run her down, snug it. Grab your wrench, your 5/16 wrench. Just give it a little, not very hard, just to tighten it. Okay, and then the tricky part. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time on learning how to do this, and that's getting the spring back on to this part. You can see the spring at the tip of my screwdriver right there. That tip has to come over and hook onto this. So how I do it is I use the butterfly. I come in here, I pry on it just like this, and then move the carburetor so I can see it. Now I'm going to pry this way on the spring, and that gets it over and around it. And then with my other hand, I push on the butterfly, which brings the butterfly, my pin on the other side of the spring. And then I just simply pull the screwdriver out, take your finger and hold that spring so it doesn't pop off. And then you come in and you just make sure that all the springs are all over. Everything's pushed over so so it's not going to jump off. And there you go. There's your return spring all hooked back up. Slap your top back on your gasket. Put your top on. Put your other 2 screws in. Tighten that baby down. And that is how you install a complete rebuild kit into a 33 millimeter carburetor. So hopefully this video helps you guys out in the future and you're able to do your own work. That would be awesome. And that is hopefully a really helpful video for you guys. So like and subscribe. Any messages, any comments, hit me up. I usually answer on YouTube pretty quickly. So if you got any questions on anything, any comments, any suggestions on any videos you guys would like to see, I still have a lot of videos I'm working on. Just really busy time of season right now here at Blossom Racing. It's our rebuild season, so it gets kind of hard to do the videos and keep up with all the freshen ups and the new motors. So so bear with me. I haven't forgot about doing videos. I'm still doing them. I'm really limited on time. But so there's the video installing the rebuild kit on a 33 millimeter. Awesome, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Take care. Have a great day.